Hey guys, it's Mario722. There's a bit of bolognese on my face, so wipe that off. Sorry guys, that's disgusting, but I'm not gonna be able to touch this DVD with this hand. So yeah, I don't care if there's anything in my face. Um, anyway guys, today or tonight, whatever, I'm here to review Christine, made in the year of 1983. Directed by John Carpenter, who also did Halloween, Halloween 2, The Thing, which was a year before this, and he did a film called Vampires, which I haven't seen, haven't heard of. It just says it at the top, and it's also based off the. It's also an adaptation of this. My hands are wiped, by the way. It's also an adaptation of the Stephen King novel Christine. It's just the film adaptation of it. I never read the novel because I'm not really a reader, guys. I'm not really a reader, so yeah, I'm more of a watcher than a reader. So yeah, the only time I read is when I'm in school. But I would read a comic book. I just wouldn't read any other thing. But anyways, this is a great movie. This is another great horror classic. A great horror classic. Okay, so basically, it's about a killer car. Like, that's smart, and basically the car is possessed like by a soul, so it goes after people and drives by itself. And that's the other villain of the movie. The other villain there, he's the person that gets. I think that's the other villain. I don't know if that's one of the heroes, but basically that guy's the villain, Arnie Cunningham. He's like the one that's obsessed with Christine, and he's actually more of the villain in the movie as well. But anyway, so the movie starts off. We hear this engine revving, rum rum rum, and all that stuff, and we see like the car bonnet thing, the metal thing. Then we get great, I think, 70s music. That famous song. It's like and we see this car factory, see all these car workers on a car line. We see all these white cars, and for some reason there's a red car on the white line. And anyway, there's all these white cars, and then we see a red car, which happens to be Christine. So anyway, they check the hood of the car, and the hood of the car slams down, and this slams down on the guy that's looking at the car, and ends up breaking his hand and all that. So we hear these people talking. I think we hear them talking, these builder men and all that stuff. And then we see this black guy, not being racist or anything, but just say we see this black guy smoking a cigar, getting into Christine, turning on the radio. Then the people open the door and find him dead. So anyway, we cut to like present day. We kind of cut to like this street, which kind of looks like the same like Haddonfield from Halloween 1. It kind of looks like that, but this is a John Carpenter movie, so you can kind of understand that. And we see this guy driving a blue car, and it's this guy, our hero of the movie. This guy, I forget his name, but anyway, he's driving a car and he's beeping and all that, burp and all that, and then for Arnie, his best friend, who's a complete geek nerd, but he's a lovable geek, and she's all like, "He'll be out in a minute, you're gonna cause a noise hazard, and all that." And anyway, he runs out, I'm coming," and then he has like a rubbish bag or a garbage bag, and it ends up breaking. And it goes everywhere, and she's like, "I'll do it. I'll clean up." So he gets in the car, and they're talking about typical, like not typical, but loads of horror movies back then, and I'd say even now talk about, it's like, okay, we got to get you laid and all that. They're talking about girls, and they talk about girls, and he goes like, "Oh, I'm not getting with that girl. She's like a mustache or something like that." He's like, "She's a mustache," and all that. And anyway, they're in school, and then you notice that the other guy kind of gets picked on a bit, and Arnie, and the other guy, his friend, is always like, "Hey, you trying to?" He has a lot of friends. You trying to have the soccer team this year, and all that stuff. And you have like this new girl in the school. It's like she's got the body of a of a model or something like that. And then they're talking to the locker and all that, and there's this blondie girl that kind of fancies him, and Arnie's all like just like that behind her back, and he's being nice and all, and then he's like, hey, makes a smart joke to the other guy's friends, like, hey, having trouble with your locker, trying to open it, and eventually he's like, hey Arnie, can you help me open? No, not Arnie. Hey man, can you help me open the locker? Basically, and he goes over to Arnie's locker, tries to open it. It's like, oh cool, and then he ends up getting a lock, and he's like, hey, hey, and all that. Basically see their normal stuff, talking and all that stuff, and eventually, you know, um, how long was this movie on for? I forget. Anyway, guys, we eventually like we see someone walking. He's like, "Hey, have you seen Ernie?" He's like, "Buddy stole his lunch, or not again." And he goes downstairs, and then you have all these bullies, and one of them is by the name of Bully. You have of Buddy, not Bully, and all that. And one of them is this guy right here, and he's one of the bullies. And you have this other guy, and they're basically they pull a blade to Arnie like that, and eventually he's like, it says Arnie Cunting, and then like he cuts like his lunch, and all of it falls out and all that stuff, and he's like, come on, just give his lunch back or what? And he swears at them, and he ends up dropping Arnie's glasses and smashing them. And then the teacher comes down and gives out to him. Then he swears at the teacher, and I don't know why they didn't get expelled. Then they have to go to the office. Also, there is the scene where he like grabs the other guy's balls. Like you don't see it, but you just see like his trousers, and I just went ooh, like that scene would make you cringe and all that. And anyway, goes up like you feel sorry for Arnie. Like he's in the car with a plaster, like things on his glasses, and then yeah, not just that is like uh, what happened? Oh yeah, there I'm driving home, and on the way home, um, talking about college, and then he's like, "Oh, stop, what?" And then he ends up going to this junkyard where they find Christine, who's all dirty, and then we see the guy, this old man who owns this place, and he's actually the same guy from Home Alone, Old Man Marley. He's like, my brother owned the car, loved it, and all that stuff. And his brother apparently loved the car so much, and all that. And eventually he sells the car for like, I'd probably go 300. And then his friend convinces him not to buy it, but Arnie buys it and he loves it. He drives it home and ends up taking up the entire driveway, and he gets into an argument with his parents, and his parents aren't happy about it. And he still kind of sounds nerdy. And eventually he becomes obsessed with the car, and it becomes like a chick magnet. Like he picks up the girl that he fancies, and he tries to ask the girl in the when he's at the library out the other guy. It turns out she's going out with someone else who happens to be Arnie. And Arnie then, like, I don't know why, it kind of reminds me of like the werewolf movie, like by day a really nice guy, by night a werewolf. Although it's different, it's in a different type of context. Like he starts off as this really sweet, lovable nerd that you feel sorry for and really like, and then he turns into this evil, worse than a bully, jackass motherfucker. Sorry for swearing, but like an asshole basically, that you just hate. But he's still a really good character. Um, so turning off from 106 minutes. I didn't even see that there. Anyway, and what was it? Yeah. So basically, what happens is he becomes obsessed with the car, and while he's playing football, he ends up seeing him with the girl, and the guy ends up getting hit in the football field and ends up in the hospital, and like Arnie starts getting all disturbing and all by going in and saying, "Oh, they deserved it," and acting really scary. And there's this scene where he drives Christine to a movie, the old where the car drive-ins for the cinema, and he has his girlfriend there, and Christine, the lights go on her and all, and he leaves her for a second, and then Christine's seatbelt ends up wrapping around the girlfriend's neck or something, and then I think Christine starts trying to choke her. And when she's out, there's this guy that tries to help his girlfriend. He's like, "Get the fuck off my girlfriend!" And I think he tries to hit him, and she's annoyed with him. He's like, "Look, I love you, I'm sorry," and all that stuff. And Arnie starts to become like really bad. Like there's a scene where I think she's not happy with him and all that, and he calls her a bitch. He goes, "You stupid, take that, you stupid fucking bitch!" And he puts the phone down. I'm like, damn, that's a big change. And then, um, basically Christine, there's this scene like where he says sorry to her, and before the entire bitch thing, he says sorry to her, and then after the incident in the car, and eventually she forgives him and all that. But that night, basically he's working for this guy, and he's polishing the car and all that stuff. Basically that night, the bullies, he apologizes the next day, and she forgives him. But basically that night, the bullies, Buddy and all that, think are jealous of the car, so they go in and they smash up the car, and the car's literally smashed to bits. She finds it and she's all upset, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not," and the girl's like, "Friends, like, I'm so sorry." He's like, "This is all your fault," and all that stuff. And when she's gone, he goes in and he says, "Come on, show me what you got." Then the car brings itself back to life, is able to fix itself, which is just epic. It's able to fix itself and all that stuff, which is brilliant. And I love that scene. Eventually, the guy goes to the grandfather. What's the guy's name? The guy that played Old Man Marley, the other guy, his friend, and asks him to what's up wrong with the car, and he says that his brother died in it, so that makes the car automatically possessed and all that. And then when the car brings itself back to life, I think Arnie goes, "We'll show him," and all that stuff. And we get a lot of great scenes. Like, for example, this scene. Like the scene where where Christine drives up to the guy, is like, and the scene where Christine drives up to the bully, and the bully's like, "Cunningham, you're not angry, are you?" And then the car literally drives after him, and he's running away. "You're crazy," and all this stuff, and literally he's running away from the car, and he keeps following him, and he goes over fences, and I'm not sure if the car crashes through the fence or follows him and drives him. Keeps driving, and all that stuff, and tries to kill him. And like there's a really long chase scene where the car is just driving after him, and eventually he's in a tight corner, but the car smashes itself to get through, and then eventually runs him out, hits him and kills him and all that stuff. Then the other bullies go to this shop. Then the car comes up, and Buddy and the other two bullies are there, and it's like, "Oh, I'll show him," and all that stuff. And he gets in his car, and then Christine manages to be following them, and then they try to drive back and smash into the other car, into Christine, but Christine drives after them. They have this great scene at the gas station, aka the petrol station, is all that we call it over here. And basically, the two of them are there, and I think he runs out. Christine literally hits both of these guys. I think he hits both of these bullies. I think Christine hits both of the bullies. They smash into the petrol or gas station, and there's just a gigantic explosion, like, and all that stuff. And Christine's on fire, and it's just epic, and she's still driving like that. And then you have Buddy who's running and all that stuff, and he's running, and eventually she runs over him and kills him, and he goes on fire. And anyway, Arnie's boss ends up going back to the garage or whatever, or the garage or whatever, and basically what happens is like he starts there's this guy, like he goes there, he gets in the car and all that, and I think he smokes, and then Christine pushes her seat right into the guy, and the guy ends up getting crushed, and it's a really great kill scene. Then you have this guy who's wondering about the car, asking Arnie, wondering about the debts, and talking to him. There's a great talk scene where he's kind of acting bad to him, where Arnie's acting bad to the guy, who's this guy right here. And there's another scene saying mysterious deaths and all. And Arnie visits him at the his friend at the hospital and all, and like he's like, oh, they deserved it or something like that. I don't know, I forget. And eventually, like the girlfriend, Arnie's girlfriend, and his best friend decide to team up and stop the car, and to kind of stop Arnie as well, like to because they're concerned about him basically. And there's this really weird scene where Arnie's like at the dinner table and the parents give out to him, and he's like, you better. He's like, it's all your fault. Taking up the whole. You were just worried if it taked up the whole goddamn fucking driveway. Don't use your mouth like that. And he grabs the father and literally goes, huh, and has him by the neck and goes, ha 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 ha, and he starts laughing. Very, very. I mean, Arnie is actually a really good villain. Then there's the scene I think where he's in Christine and Christine's after the two friends, and eventually Christine crashes and ends up killing Arnie. He ends up getting glass, I think, right into his pulse or whatever. So then they decide to come up with a plan to stop Christine. Then we get the final act where Christine is trying to kill the girlfriend and his best friend, and she's constant. The bulldozer's trying to block it, and she's constantly trying to smash, drive into it. And you just get a really long scene, and they try to crush her several times with the bulldozer, but she keeps coming back to life, and then he really has to try crush her to death, and eventually he kills her, and she ends up as a block, and we have the music, and then that's the end scene, I think, there. And then that's when they go, I think she goes like, I hate 70s rock or something. Then the movie ends with the actual theme song, wah, 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 and all that stuff. This is a classic. I mean, this is one of the best horror movies. Like, I love horror movies like this. Like killer car movies are pretty cool because cars are like, because like I love the way this car can bring herself back to life. It's a very nice car as well. Like anytime I ever see a red car in a movie, I always go, oh look, there's Christine. Sorry, but yeah, like this is a great movie. It's very strong DVD case as well. So yeah, like there's the disc and there's the thing. It's rated 18, which I mean, it's not like a very gory movie. There is blood in it, like the scene where Arnie gets killed. Christine's an unstoppable villain, but against Godzilla, she would not stand a chance. Like Godzilla would just kill her, blow her up, or something. It's like one of them. I love these type of horror movies where it takes ages to kill the killer. This is one of them horror movies. Like you have that. Like Terminator is like an action horror. It kind of does have a horror vibe to it. Like it takes absolutely a long time to kill the Terminator. It takes a long time to kill Christine. It took a long time to kill Freddy in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Like they're just three movies that like take ages to kill the killer. Like it shows all the stunts they do. It takes ages to kill Chucky in the first two Child's Plays, and the third one I think as well. And actually in all of them pretty much except for like 6 and 5. I'd say 4, 5 and 6 maybe. Maybe number 3 as well. I think it's 1 and 2 that takes ages to kill them in. It does take ages to kill Jason and Michael Myers, but they don't really show it. Actually, they kind of do. Oh yeah, Friday the 13th Part 3 kind of had Jason trying to kill him for ages. Michael Myers, I don't exactly remember, but yeah, Pinhead it would take ages to kill, and the Cenobites, and Godzilla obviously, even though he's kind of a good guy in the new movie and all the other monsters. Anyway, guys, if you haven't seen this, including the two people on my channel, definitely recommend it. I love the headline, John Carpenter's Christine. She'll process you, then destroy you. She's death on wheels. Great horror movie. So it's also from 19, like the cars made from 1950, the cars 1958 type model. Um, yeah, like they did a really good job at Arnie as well. Like there is another great scene I forgot to mention. Um, where he's driving and he's drinking beers and then his friends get upset like you're scaring me and he's like whoa and the car's driving itself. Great scene. Great movie. So that's pretty much my review of Christine. Check it out on my old channel as well and bye.